Comments Apple CEO Tim Cook made years ago have just cost the company a boatload of money, as the tech giant has agreed to pay out $490 million to settle a class action lawsuit shareholders lodged against the company in 2019.
2019년에 애플사 주주들이 회사를 상대로 제기한 집단소송에서 사측이 4억 9천만 달러에 합의하기로 하면서 결과적으로 애플의 최고경영자 팀 쿡의 수년 전 발언이 막대한 손실을 불러온 셈이 됐습니다. 뭐라고 했길래?
Yeah, so to give a little background information, you have to be careful what you say, especially if you're the CEO of a very big company. So back in January 2019, this is a year before the pandemic, iPhone said it would slash its quarterly revenue by up to $9 billion. And they blamed it on U.S.-China relations at the time. Now, 2 months prior to that, Tim Cook, in an analyst call, he said that Apple faced pressure in other markets like Brazil, India, Russia, but not in China. He specifically said when talking about currency, he said he would not put China in that category. A few days later, Apple curbed their production. And then hence, this is where what it comes down to. Shares of Apple fell 10%. So what a bunch of class action lawsuit was filed. And they said that Tim Cook needs to take responsibility for his words.
Yeah, because initially he said China would not be in that category where sales pressures exist or they face sales pressures. And yet soon after he'd said that
They slashed production.
They slashed production. 그래요. 2019년에 있었던 얘기입니다. 그러니까 그때 당시에 이제 분기별 이익을 좀 줄여야 하는 상황이 됐다라고 설명을 하면서 아이폰이 그렇게 얘기를 한 거죠.
The forecast of it, right?
그렇죠. 아이폰이 앞으로는 그렇게 하게 될 것인데 이제 브라질, 인디아, 러시아, 터키와 같은 나라들이 앞으로는 이제 생산량이 좀 줄어들어야 될 것이다. 중국은 여기에 해당되지 않는다. 이렇게 말을 했다가 또 중국이 거기에 또 해당이 되게 된 거죠. 현실적으로는.
So, exactly. So these shareholders feel like they were misled or deceived by Tim Cook.
Because everything you say affects stock prices.
Yeah, we're talking billions of dollars that go up and down
맞아요.
just by his words.
그럼요. 이런 말 한마디 한마디 때문에 투자를 내가 더 해? 돈 빼? 뭐 어떻게 해? 이런 게 다 이제 결정이 되고 그다음에 주가가 올라가느냐 내려가느냐 이것도 많이 결정이 되기 때문에 그 말을 잘못한 것이 화근이 돼서요. 집단 소송이 있었고 그거에 대한 결과가 지금에서야 이게 몇 년 지났는데요. 네, 이제 결국은 애플사에서 4억 9천만 달러니까 우리 돈으로는 6,500억 원이에요.
Yeah, that's a boatload of money.
어마어마한 돈을 이렇게 내게 됐습니다. 말실수 정말 조심해야 됩니다. 자, 첫 번째 표현 한번 볼게요. A boatload of money.
A boatload of money.
A boatload of something.
A large amount of something. So you can have a boatload of complaints on our message board. Hopefully not. But it just means a lot of things.
It's interesting because in Korea we say 뭐 산더미 같은 a mountain load of something 이렇게 말하는데 영어식은 배에다가 실을 만큼 배더미만큼 그게 이제 산더미 있는 느낌이에요. 많이란 뜻이죠. 많이. 그래서 a boatload of money를 지금 내야 되게 생겼다. 굉장히 큰 액수의 돈을 내야 되는 거죠. 합의금이에요. Settlement.
Right. So this did not go to a verdict. So what happened was they settled out of court. So they settled this lawsuit, meaning that they came to an agreement or a conclusion outside of court before the end of the trial.
그렇죠. Settle이라는 단어가 법률 용어에서 나오면 합의하다. Settlement, 합의금 이렇게 보시면 됩니다.
Yeah.
그래서 settle a lawsuit, 소송에서 쌍방의 합의가 이루어졌다는 얘기죠.
Because there's a saying, if you go to court, the only person that wins are the lawyers.
Yes. 그래요. 그래서 settle이라는 게 우리 평상시에 쓸 때는 좀 다른 의미로 쓰지만 하여튼 law에서는 합의라고 보시면 되겠어요. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Comments Apple CEO Tim Cook made years ago have just cost the company a boatload of money as the tech giant has agreed to pay out $490 million to settle a class action lawsuit shareholders lodged against the company in 2019. Let's move on to the next headline.
A Japanese municipal government is set to introduce a grandchild leave initiative starting in fiscal 2024, making employees eligible for special leave over the birth or care of their grandchildren.
일본의 한 지방자치단체는 손자녀의 출생이나 돌봄 기간 동안 직원들이 사용할 수 있는 특별 휴가인 손주 휴가 제도를 오는 4월부터 도입하기로 했습니다.
Yeah. Again,
so this is,
more social trends, right?
Right. This is Okayama?
Okayama district here in Ibaraki Prefecture.
Okay.
Yes. So,
right. What's happening here?
What's happening here is that there's a couple of things. First of all, people are living longer and the retirement age is going up. I'm assuming parents need help in child rearing. And so it's almost a win-win situation where, and it's only fair. I think grandparents should be able, if they're still working, they should be able to spend time with their grandchildren. I think it's important for the kids and the future.
Sure. We have paternity leave and maternity leave. But now in this particular area in Japan, they're saying we should give grandparents a chance to leave work and receive the same benefits as parents.
5 days they're proposing. I wonder what our listeners think about this. Any grandparents among our listeners, if you have an opinion on this, that'd be great to hear. But that's what this municipality in Japan is doing.
This also has to do with how people are working until much later in life as well. 여러 가지가 지금 다 결부되어 있는 상황이기는 한데요. 이제 일을 하면서 손주를 돌봐야 하는 상황들이 있을 수 있죠. 그럴 때 우리가 그 육아휴직 부모에게 주듯이 이 조부모님, 할머니, 할아버지에게도 이런 휴직 제도를 주는 그런 제도를 도입한다고 합니다. 그래서 3살이 될 때까지 한 6개월간의 무급 휴가도 이제 가능할 거라고 해요. 첫 번째 표현은 be set to do something.
Right. So this initiative hasn't started yet, but it's set to be starting in fiscal 2024.
Right.
So it means it's ready or it's prepared or likely to begin at that time.
Be set to do something. 뭐뭐 할 예정이다라는 뜻이 되겠죠. 회계년도 2024랑 우리가 그냥 보통 말하는 2024는 좀 다르기 때문에 아직은 시작이 안 됐지만 곧 시행이 될 예정이라고 합니다. Eligible은 뭘까요?
Yeah, when you're eligible, it means you are permitted or qualified to do something. Usually you meet certain standards.
Yeah.
So to get a scholarship, you need to have certain eligibility requirements, right?
그렇죠. 뭐뭐 할 자격이 된다. Eligible. Be eligible for something or be eligible to do something 이렇게 얘기를 할 수 있고요.
As opposed to legible, which means something can
You
be
can
read easily, but this is eligible. Yes.
그러네요. 발음 비슷하죠. legible이라고 하면은 이 가독성이 있다는 뜻입니다. 잘 읽을 수 있다. 그 단어랑 이 단어는 발음만 좀 비슷하지 완전히 다른 단어입니다. Be eligible to do something. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A Japanese municipal government is set to introduce a grandchild leave initiative starting fiscal 2024, making employees eligible for special leave over the birth or care of their grandchildren. Now let's move on to the final headline.
Iceland has declared a state of emergency because of another volcanic eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula, marking the fourth such disaster since December of last year.
아이슬란드 레케네스 반도에서 또다시 화산이 폭발해 비상사태가 선포됐습니다. 이 같은 폭발은 지난해 12월 이후 4번째입니다. 이 같은 장소에서 지금 계속 폭발이 일어나고 있는 거죠?
Yeah, this has been in the news for the past couple of months specifically, but just years back too, there was a very big volcanic eruption that disrupted air travel all around the world. I remember, but Iceland lies in a region of the world called the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. We've all heard of the Pacific Rim, where the Ring of Fire, where a lot of volcanoes and earthquakes occur. But in this area too, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is where two big tectonic plates meet, and that's where a lot of volcanic activity and earthquakes happen. So a couple of months ago, residents in this town called Grindavik were evacuated, about 4,000 of them, when an eruption happened. and that spread magma throughout the town. 3 homes were destroyed. People were evacuated and moved to a nearby town. Airspace remained open, but just this past weekend at 8 p.m. local time, another eruption occurred. So it looks like it's very disruptive here in this part of Iceland. This area has had the country declare it an area where they've issued a state of emergency.
Yeah. So to declare something.
Yeah, when you declare something, you make it be known formally or officially, explicitly. When a state of emergency is declared, usually that releases funds from the federal or national government to be put into these disaster areas.
네, 그렇죠. 비상사태를 선포했다라는 뜻으로 declare a state of emergency라고 했습니다.
Yeah, I think of the Declaration of Independence, of course, the important document in U.S. history.
독립선언문이라고
Exactly.
하죠. 네, 그때는 이제 선언이라고 해석을 하면 되겠고, Declaration of Independence. 실제로 거기 맨 앞에 뭐 I declare 뭐 어쩌고저쩌고
We the people.
We the people.
I think that's how it starts.
그렇군요.
We the people of the United States of America. Blah blah blah.
네, 그래서 선포하다, 선언하다. 자, 그다음에 disaster.
A disaster is a sudden event that causes great damage, loss, or destruction. So natural disasters are a common thing, like earthquakes and volcano eruptions.
그렇죠. disaster는 재난이나 재앙을 말하는데요. 재해라는 뜻도 됩니다. 그래서 natural disasters, 자연재해가 되겠죠.
But you can also use it to describe a situation that's in disarray or disordered, like, my room is a disaster. When you walk in, it's so messy. Or the state of politics is a disaster at the moment. Where nothing is occurring.
내 방이 지금 난장판이야 라고 할 때 my room is a disaster. 아니면은 정치가 지금 굉장히 뭐 난리야 이런 의미로도 쓸 수 있겠고요. 아니면 그냥 뭐 큰일 났어 이런 느낌으로도 disaster를 쓸 수 있습니다. 캐주얼하게는 좀 두루두루 굉장히 폭넓게 쓸 수 있고요. 뉴스에서 쓸 때는 재앙이나 재해를 말합니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Iceland has declared a state of emergency because of another volcanic eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula, marking the 4th such disaster since December of last year.